Good morning, unless you're in Australia, in which case good day. No, it wouldn't be good day, would it? Probably good evening or something, because it's only night time now. Probably night time now, aren't they? I don't know. So, hope you're all well and avoiding the plague that's going around. And whatever you're painting, building and making is going well. I'm going to do a quick review for you before I get on to other things. I'm going to do a quick review of which is what we are currently working on. Now I've come to find that there's more flash on these than I originally thought. Awful amount of flash, actually, all right round the rigid edge. And I've also come to find that the molds must have shifted in the molding process. So instead of being, the two halves are being flushed together, they've sort of done that. So there's some cutting involved as well, and it seems to be taking me forever to do these wretched things. That's the ones that I've done. Those are still to do. So it's going to take me a considerable time just to prep these figures. But they're an unusual box of figures, because normally out of a box of figures I can normally squeeze a couple of battalions out of a box of figures. But this box, 48 figures in the box, I had a job to squeeze one battalion. You wouldn't think that would be that difficult with 48 figures to get at least one battalion out of it, but it's proved to be difficult because, for a start off, there are no figures kneeling and firing. Right, you have some figures like that, but you have none kneeling and firing, which is a nuisance. So it makes it difficult to make a front rank. You get 4 officer figures, 4 command figures. Now 4 command figures for one box I think is too many. 2 would be fine, would be more than adequate. Why they had to put 4 in the box, I don't know. You get quite a few of these figures. Let's bend over a bit. Quite a few of those marching like that. Now I would rather they didn't have them and they had some kneeling, firing figures. There's also, you get, with this pack, you get, I can see it here. Can you see that? Spare heads, some spare heads, and some loose, couple of drums, some what look like bugles or horns, some flag poles, and 1 or 2 rifles. So, as far as the spare heads go, if you're going to fit those heads, because they have different headgear on, if you're going to fit those heads to any of these figures, it's going to mean you're going to have to cut the head off. Now the spare heads have like a little lug coming out the bottom of them, obviously to go into a... So not only are you going to have to cut the head off, if you're going to use that little sort of lug, excuse me a moment, if you're going to use that sort of little lug that's on the bottom of the head, you're going to have to drill out a hole in the neck of the figure you've just cut the head off. Now that's fiddly work for anyone doing that. Now it says on the box, inside the box, it says, I read somewhere, was it on the back of the box? Caution, contains small parts not suitable for children under 10 years of age. Fair enough. But if you're 10 years of age or 11 years of age, that's still going to be a tricky job. And would I want to see a 10-year-old child cutting things this small with a knife? Not really, not really. I would rather they just had some figures with no heads, selection of heads, like that, figures with no heads, and you just pick the head you want and glue it on. Now I'd rather they did it that way. It's a lot safer for children concerned. So, a bit nonsensical to me. This figure also, I think you can see that figure's got a hole in. Yeah, if I put my, oh there you go. Yeah, there you go. Now you can see the hole in it. That's to take either, you know, the flagpole or drum or, you know, horn or a rifle. They've tried to, I guess they've tried to make that a multi-purpose figure. To me it doesn't work. If you put a drum on that figure, it's going to look ridiculous. It's going to look ridiculous. The horn actually won't fit. I've looked at it. You'd have to cut the hand physically to get the horn in there. The only thing that would really fit is the rifle. It's the only thing that would fit. The flagpole, actually, if you take one of the flagpoles, here you go, you can see they put, see how they've done the flagpole, that there. So that goes in the hand. So you've got the hand down by his side, like that, and the flagpole would be going, you can carry it like that, you'd carry it like that, wouldn't you? With the flagpole going up through. You wouldn't carry it, you wouldn't carry it like that. So that's, and it's a very, to me that's a very sort of starchy sort of figure. It's very rigid and upright. So I suppose you could cut those off and push the flagpole that way, but you wouldn't really carry a flagpole very far like that either, because as I know, carrying a banner for the Male Cornwall Society, they're heavy. You wouldn't get very far carrying it one-handed like that. So all in all, a pretty, I'm not going to say useless, but it's awkward. It's an awkward set. And I went on Plastic Soldier Review, and they seem to think it's quite a good set. They gave it 41 out of 50. I mean, I wouldn't give it nowhere near that. I mean, no, it's a nonsensical set. Too many command figures, too many figures that we don't really need. What I'll probably end up doing is what I sort of normally end up doing with these things, is taking either one of them or possibly even one of them, cutting out the rifle and putting a pole in and putting the flag on that. What I'll do for a musician or a drummer, not wholly sure yet, but I'm sure I'll manage to squeeze a battalion out of this box, but it's going to be awkward and a lot of work, certainly a lot of work cutting all the flash off and all the, see if I can find one with flash on it. Yeah, you probably can't see that on this because it's not good. I'm only using my iPhone because my computer went wrong. The screen went on it. It's just, you fire it up and it lights up and everything, and then within no time at all the screen just goes, and you can just about see what's on it, but the screen's gone for some reason. So I have to stick with the iPhone now. So all these things are meant to try us, but that's Brunswick Leib Infantry by hat. Not a good set, to my mind. Not a good set at all. Not well molded, not well thought out. Too many command figures, and sort of odd figures. Why no firing, kneeling? To me, anyway. If you're a kid playing toy soldiers, you want figures that are firing. So there you go. So moving swiftly along, because I got stuff to do today. I actually, believe it or not, today I want to make jam today for my local WI. I have a lot of fruit in my freezer, so I get stuck into that in a bit. So excuse me just a second, I have to check something. Sorry for disappearing, my kettle was boiling. I got jars to wash out for jam making, so I could do that. So what was I saying? Yeah, so moving swiftly along, this month's giveaway is 2 sprues of Viking Herdmen by Gripping Beast. I think these are Gripping Beast figures. I think they're quite well thought of. So there are 2 sprues of Viking Herdmen, and also a small sprue of 2 command figures for the Viking Herdmen, also by Gripping Beast. So that gives you 22 figures. by Gripping Beast. So, question is, I'm going to have to get smart with you now because you're still guessing my questions too easily. So I have to get smart with you now. Usual rules apply. First person to give me the right answer, I'll give you an email address and send me your mailing address and you can have the Viking herdmen. So the question is, in 1977, a man, I won't bore you with who the man is because you've never heard of him, but it doesn't make any difference anyway. In 1977, a man received a message. The message went as follows. EP OD question mark DOA BMH. It was a cryptic sort of message. He knew what it meant. Does anybody out there know what that means? EP OD question mark DOA BMH. First person to give me the right answer gets the 2 sprues of Viking herdmen and the sprue of command figures. And if I'm feeling generous, I might even chuck in a jar of jam. So that's me done. I'm going to get on and clean these jars out and do all that stuff, get it done and out the way. So usual rules apply, you know. Thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing. As I said earlier, I hope you're all well and avoiding the plague. And I can't believe it's 1st of October today already. And we seem to have been in this situation now for an eternal lifetime, you know. But hopefully, fingers crossed, for long, we get back to normal. Thanks for watching.